So what are some of the things, some like interesting type situations you found yourself in while trying to model? I'm kind of curious as to how you fell into it.
Hmm.
Because 9 years ago you said that that's when you really started. Was like was it the age old story of somebody walking down Michigan Avenue and going stopping you and going like
Ha ha
you
ha. I wish. I wish.
you
That
sir.
rarely happens.
Right.
You
And then
know?
he was in a big fox fur coat and he's
Yeah.
like, I'm going to make you a star.
And then hands
Yes.
you his card. It's like meet me.
And then you went there and it was just a lamppost.
One in a million. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Like that. I think, I mean, it still happens. Like there's still scouts, all over, the world that are looking for talent. And, you hear of models like, I think Giselle Bundchen, Naomi Campbell, like those like big time models, like they've been, just plucked off the street. And then next thing you know, boom,
Yeah, right.
they just explode. But no, I mean, it was, I mean, I've always, had an interest in, art and fashion. I grew up, just sketching and writing and just, spending a lot of time in my own head and expressing it creatively. So I've always had an interest in it. And I started the clock 9 years ago because that's when I actually got signed, picked up by an agent. But before that, like I would set up test shoots, with photographers just to experiment, just to, create, partner up with these artists and create awesome images, just building up my portfolio and going out there, going on castings and open calls, just pounding the pavement just to get picked up.
Mm-hmm.
And granted, I wasn't very good in the beginning. So, I look back, the, late 2000, early 2010s, and I'm just like, oh my God, like I cannot believe I walked up in the Fords, Ford models with images like that. It's just like, I was so bad, so bad. But I mean, I was excited. It's like, you don't know. Like, right. So there's some, I was just excited about the opportunity to just be there. And then you walk in and then you see these models that have been doing it for a decade. So they're experts at it. It's like I started when I was 15. So 25, like I'm, top of the, bringing my A game. And I come in my rinky dink, Polaroids or, digitals and they have, these large professional hard leather bound books or portfolios and they're showing me theirs. And I'm just like, oh shit. I'm like, I think I'm a little bit out of my league, but I'm here now. So we'll see. We'll see. And just doing what I can to have a positive attitude because it can be brutal, especially when they just look you up and down and, reading you. And, most of the time in my experience, they haven't. I think, for girls who's different, it's probably even a bit more competitive, but they also, make a lot more money than the guys. So maybe that's, maybe why it's, more challenging for them because you hear the stories about you walk in, it's like, what's up with your eyes? Like they're a little too far apart or, your ears are too pointy or could you get them pulled back or, your lips are too full. Like maybe you can do something about that. I actually had fix your face. You see this? Can you fix this? Can you fix this?
Everything else is fine.
Then you'll be a good model. But could you fix your face?
From the neck down, spot on. But this, do something with it, will you? That's how it was in the beginning. Like Ford models, like they're, legendary, powerhouse, international, modeling talent agency, and they have an office here in Chicago. I'd say they're, one of the big boys, here in this market. And I figured, let me just go for the big fish, just go for it. As opposed to like, starting small and then working my way up. I figured, okay, they're the biggest, one of the most successful. So let me just try to get a book through them. But yeah, they said no. And they said no again. And they said no again, like for probably 2 years, I tried to get with them and they rejected me 4 times. No, 3 times. The 4th time is when they said yes. But that was after I got scouted, flew to Cape Town, and started working a ton, had a lot of great success, and then came back, and then Ford was like, okay, we'll sign you now. I was like, that now.
Right.
But not speaking ill on them, it's just very competitive. And in this market, Chicago's a smaller market. New York, LA, they're a lot larger. Chicago's a pretty large market, but it's different. It's more commercial as opposed to the fashion industry. Right. More fashion, more commercial print than editorial fashion type of a market. And because it's a smaller niche market, the clients, when they see someone they like, they'll just book them, to continue to book them over and over again. So what if they already have a model that, similar build, skin tone, hair? It's like, okay, we already have a handful of models, similar look that are working a ton. Clients really like them. So we really don't have a spot for you.
Right.
But I didn't see it that way at the time. I was just thinking like, what's wrong with me? It's like, okay, I shouldn't have eaten that burrito last night. That's I feel a little bloated this morning.
Yeah, right.
But
I think that's really interesting, the kind of journey that you went on. You kind of went after the big fish and then realized that after bumping your head into the ceiling a couple times, you're like, all right, well, let's try starting and getting some work done. And I got very similar to the way that we went about it too. Not that we were going and trying to pitch to Universal Studios, which I guess would be comparable.
But the first thing we tried to do was
a feature film.
And that
we learned a lot from it, which I'm sure you'd say that you learned a lot going in with the hard bound stuff. Do people still have their photos and their portfolios in a hard leather bound even to today?
There's
do
some
you have one?
I do, but I don't use it. Like I have a tablet. Everything's digital now.
Okay.
When your agent or you're putting together packages and sending it out to potential clients, it's all digital. But there's some clients that are traditional, old school. They're like they prefer, like, if you come in with a little iPad mini with your images there, they prefer that you have like an actual physical copy. Some people are, what do you call it, tactile type.
Tactile, yeah.
They prefer to feel and turn the pages and about the experience of like flipping through a book. They prefer that.
Yeah, and those high quality photo prints really do have a unique smell to them as well. So there's probably, it's a feast for all the senses. The eyes, the colors pop, you get the smell, the feel of the leather, the smell of the leather and everything. And then, of course, they lick the pictures too, just to make sure that they're high quality.
Absolutely.
You gotta activate all five senses there.
The lick test.
They get really close and you hear the binding of the book crack
open. Yes.
I could see that being fantastic. Actually, you know what? That should be a short film, like a 3-minute thing of just somebody and everything, single sound and feel that somebody has when they open up one of those books.
And then we can call it The Good Book.
The Good Book?
Yeah. Just crack it open and...
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. But sorry, I didn't finish answering your question.
Well, I interrupted you.
Yeah, right. So you don't have to apologize. You could just say, hey, asshole, I didn't finish my sentence.
Yeah, thanks, Frank. You're killing it now. No. But yeah, so how did, so let's go back to, how I got picked up by a
right.
pretty reputable, well-known agent like Ford Models, agency by Ford Models. So I, was testing, just networking online. This is back when Model Mayhem, it's a website, kind of social media type of that. I don't even know if they still exist, but it was it's like this digital platform that just brought all, creatives together. Mm-hmm. So you'd have filmmakers and writers and makeup artists and models and actors, all underneath, all just networking, just communicating. You create your profile, you have your bio, you can post your images, kind of like, social media type platform, but for creatives. Mm-hmm. And I would just network with, photographers in the Chicagoland area and try to connect with makeup artists and set up test shoots. Mm-hmm. And we would, come together and collaborate. And, we're all new. A lot of them weren't, signed by big agencies, and we would just test, and at the end of it, like everyone gets experience. Like I get professional photos, and I get experience in front of the camera, the photographer, more experience for them, the makeup artist, whoever does the styling. And, it's a win-win situation,
Sure.
without having to invest, hundreds or thousands of dollars in professional photo shoot.
Right.
Because a lot of the times, and they say this in the beginning, that when you're, looking to become a model, like you shouldn't expect to invest a ton of money in the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Just, when you're uploading, when you're applying, to these agencies, they'll ask for just very simple snapshots. Back then they call them digitals because, people take the, digital image of you, just natural jeans, t-shirt, very basic, natural light, different angles, and send it out. And if they like you, if they see something, that you would be a good fit for them and for their client base, then after you sign, they'll send you back out, partner you up with photographers, that they have relationships with or are currently signed to them also. Because, because they rep all sorts of creatives. And then you would, expect to invest, a couple $100 up to $400 for a test shoot. And you to get 8 to 10 rock solid professional photos.
Sure.
For your book. Sure. And then you're expected to just continue to test, keeping it updated, keeping it fresh, experimenting with different photographers, different styles, because every photographer, has their own way of shooting, has their own method. Like it adds value. It's like a resume, you gotta, actually, no, not like well, I mean, it is a resume, but you're not expected to, bounce from job to job. You don't want like, oh, I've had 10 jobs in 10 years.